good afternoon to one and all. Hi, I'm Suhani, and today at GIFT we are organizing the first ever TEDx talk for students, ExcitedX. Yes, you heard it right. So I would like to introduce you all to the institute. ExcitedX International Business School was established in the year 2004. It is affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Infrastructure University, Delhi, and is approved by All India Council for Students and Technical Education, Ministry of HRD, Government of India for Technical Programs, and Bar Council of India for Law Programs and various management programs in India. So, ExcitedX. Basically, Team GIFT acquired TEDx license on 7 July 2022 to hold a show under the name TEDx GIFT. For the very same reason, we all have been gathered here today, because the faculty at GIFT wanted the students to have a similar sort of exposure to the world of TEDx. Here, at GIFT, all the students who are participating would get a chance to showcase their oratory skills, their communication and their confidence. All the participants were put forward with an opportunity to select their own topic which they want to speak about, keeping in mind that your talk should last somewhere around 5 to 6 minutes. Also, each one of you might just get a chance, you will be ExcitedX to know that any of you might just get a chance to be a speaker in the main event on the day of the TEDx GIFT talk. For further information, just please do so. Over to you, Bhumika.
Good afternoon everyone, I am Bhumika and I am here to tell you everything you should know about TEDx GIFT. So firstly, I am sure many of you do not know that there is a difference between TED and TEDx. Does anyone of you know that? Well, I see none. So TED is a non-profit devoted to spreading ideas, usually in the form of short, powerful talks, whereas TEDx is a local initiative aiming to share knowledge to transform the society. The local and self-organized events are branded as TEDx, where X stands for an independently organized TED event. So, as Suhani told about TEDx GIFT, I would like to elaborate about it. One of our speakers is Dr. Ruby Makhija. Many of you must have heard of her, but if in case you haven't, she is the director at Wide Waste Wednesdays, task force members at MCD, and an ophthalmologist. Now, I would like to introduce you with the organizing team for TEDx GIFT. So, firstly we have Ms. Prachi Jindal, Dean Academics GIFT. We have Mahajan Ma'am, Dr. Mahajan Ma'am, Assistant Professor GIFT, and we also have Dr. Deepthi Jain, Assistant Professor GIFT. Also, we here have our judge for the event, Dr. Mahajan Manu, Assistant Professor GIFT, Dr. Sheetal Chanda, and Dr. Deepthi Jain, Assistant Professor GIFT. Now, over to Suhani.
So basically for today's event, we have a total of 12 participants and the judgment criteria would be as follows. So in total you consist of 50 mark judgment criteria. The first is content and topic relevance, 10 marks. You have your communication skills for 10 marks, how engaging your talk has been, 10 marks, timeline, 10 marks, and originality, 10, which again makes a total of 50. And now I would like you all to, just be familiar with all the rules of the event. As you all know, most of the participants have been raised in business formulas. Other than that, keep in mind that your talk should not last more than 6 to 7 minutes. Other than that, there should be no copyright. You are not allowed to promote any books, magazines, stock or anything. Just be very confident and walk to the floor. And before that, I would like to invite the first speaker for the day. Before that, we have a recommended TED talk for all of you.
Habits are the things that we do on a daily basis. And there is another concept of habit loop, which comprises of 3 things: trigger, process, and reward. Now let's say there's a guy who is
Good afternoon everyone, I am Srishti and I will be talking on the impact of abuse on one's mental health. To date, I have listened to most of the proficient speakers, and they all have a similarity between them. That is, a healthy mind is one which is free of stress. But in this world, there is no one who has a healthy mind. Even I don't have a healthy mind too. We all have some kind of fear. Fear of being replaced, fear of being cheated, or fear of being used. These fears may turn into phobias, but that's a lot different thing. It's okay to not be okay on some days. And I'm not saying this to comfort you, but I've experienced this myself. We all have experienced some kind of abuse, be it mental abuse, sexual abuse, or be it physical abuse. And it's okay. We also question ourselves that why it's me who has suffered these things. Or why not she, why not he. It's just that it's the difference of perspective, And recently I have come across many headlines that say this person has died due of depression, this person has died from mental trauma. People are normalizing mental health as we are the generation that is most of the time active on social media. But what they are doing by normalizing is they are giving you false hopes. They'll say, if you have a problem, come talk to me, we'll sort it out. But when you tell them your problem, they'll sympathize with you. They'll say, oh, you'll get through this. It will get better with time. But actually it's not. It's actually not. I've experienced this myself. It takes a lot of courage to suffer that thing and start anew fresh. It takes a lot of courage to forget your past and make your present the brightest. I'll share my personal experience with you guys. Till school everything was very good. But as I entered this college, it was some different kind of feeling, Like we all have some certain kind of perspective about college, that people will interact with you, they'll be nice to you. But everyone has a different personality, You can't change them. So when I entered this college, I became friendly with people who needed someone by their side always. Like 24/7 they needed me. And I was there for them. They need your constant support. They need you to sort things out. And that's okay. That's what friends are for, right? But people will have a problem with themselves and they'll say, you are not good for me. They'll criticize you for being so sympathized towards them. Which is not a good thing. But okay, don't regret that you are being nice to such people and they are not showing up the same to you. It's okay. Everyone is different. And we should believe it, that everyone is really different. It's not about criticizing others. Now, when I had my mental breakdown, I had my familiar support. Literally, my parents were so supportive that they had my back. And during that point of time, this is what I said. ये दुनिया मेरे लिए है ही नहीं पापा. ये अच्छे लोग के लिए है ही नहीं. And I was crying, but my parents couldn't bear to look at me when I was crying. The mental trauma, the things that you listen from other people who you trusted is literally the thing that can shatter you, that can shatter your lives. Now, when we talk about mental trauma, people are being so quibbling, the society is so quibbling, they'll say, oh, look, she has suffered from mental trauma, right? And I'm okay. If anyone says it in the future, I'm looking at my face, I'll be okay with it. Because I'm proud of myself. And most of the people can relate to me. We all have suffered some kind of mental abuse. Mental abuse is not that you are being 24/7 criticized about yourself, that you are being so nice, you are being so helpful. It's not that. When I entered this college, there are people around me who use the word toxicity, Many of you have listened that word toxicity. But the humor is they don't even know the meaning of that word. They themselves don't know the meaning of it. A toxic people is someone who basically upsets you and who plays a negative impact on your life. That's a toxic person. Right? Think of the people who have been the victim to sexual abuse, The pain they have suffered, the trauma they have went through. Just imagine.
And the society, what does the society do related to it? They'll say, it will be the fault of that person only. In rare cases we see that the girls are made to believe that they were at fault, when it's actually not. You know, I'm here and speak to you to bring a change in society. It's okay. The people themselves question. I also question myself that why me? I was so nice to people that why they're treating me like this. Okay, it's not that they'll bully you or they'll do something, but when you share your opinions and criticize you about it, you know, it's not okay. This thing is really not okay in this society. But trust me, I have been through this and you are the only one who can get yourself through darkness. I really mean it. You are the only one who can get yourself through darkness. You need only your constant support. You should pat your back like, I did it. Yes, I made it. That's the constant belief you need to instill in yourself. You all would not remember what I said till now. But being happy and satisfied by yourself is the utmost priority of your life. I'm saying this because I've experienced this. We always look at the negative side. Negative impact, the thing lays on us. But for 1 second, just imagine a bad thing happened to you. It's okay. If a bad thing happened to you, you'll get through this. I'm saying you'll get through this because I get through it. You have your family is not criticizing you about anything in life. They're always at your support. But some people in the society will always say, यार उसके माँ बाप तो उसको कुछ कहते ही नहीं है. They don't even say a word to her. They don't say even a word to him. Our parents know our backstory, and most important, we all know our backstory, and not anyone else. I've seen some of the familiar faces. सब कुछ सहा जाता है समाज के डर से, फिर बार बार ये व्यवहार पाकर दिल मर जाता है तिल तिल करके. बहुत से तरीकों से बीमार बनाया जाता है, हमको मानसिक तौर पर कमजोर बताया जाता है, फिर खुद से कुछ यूँ अलग हो जाते हैं हम, जैसा वो कहते हैं हमें वैसा ही खुद को पाते हैं हम. याद रखो ये बात सदा, न छोड़ो तुम फिर अपना हाथ, वो लाख तुम्हें तोड़े झगड़े, तुम रखना खुद पर ये विश्वास. फिर जितनी मुश्किलें आएंगी वो जल्द दूर हो जाएंगी, फिर जितनी मुश्किलें आएंगी वो जल्द दूर हो जाएंगी. थैंक यू फॉर योर पेशेंस.
So now I would like to invite the second participant for the day, Srishti Banisani.
Hello, good afternoon everybody. I am Srishti Bansal from BA LLB 3 and today's TED topic is misogyny related to women lawyers. First of all, I would like to tell you about misogyny. What is misogyny? Misogyny refers to hatred, contempt or prejudice basically against women. Misogyny in our society is really faced by women, and it's not only in domestic level or in office level, it is also seen in courtrooms as well. Misogyny, the sources of biasness or misogyny are the judges, the lawyers, the attorneys, and even the client themselves. Various times, the lawyers have themselves faced misogyny by their clients. They are asked, especially women, they are asked, are you capable to handle our case, or should ask, refer to some senior advocate. In the trial as well, women lawyers have faced misogyny and the biasness, and it's not only related to like clothes. Clothes are trivial, but many a times they are commented upon, they have made remarks upon the clothing, and women have faced that. Apart from that, many times we have seen in our society that when a woman starts her career as a lawyer, they are basically asked, would you get a husband? Even when you are married, would you get a proper husband if you are a lawyer? They are asked that. So, even in the recent case, the Pune court have issued a notice regarding women lawyers to refrain themselves from arranging their hairs in the open court. Although the notice was withdrawn, but still, like this tells us that there is some sort of misogyny even in the courts as well. So to conclude my TED talk, I would like some suggestions like when imparting the legal knowledge, lawyers and the teachers as well should impart some feminist side to the legal knowledge. So thanks.
So now I would like to invite our third speaker for the day, and she is Arvashi.
Okay, so good afternoon everyone. I am Jatin present here as a final year student of BBA. Good afternoon everyone. I am Jatin present here as a final year student of BBA, and it's my first time experiencing communication right here in front of so many people. So I will be talking about the online education and its impact. I know all of you present here is a fourth semester students, so you might not have experienced the online education. So let me tell you about the experience of the online education from the past 2 years. So to all the people present here, you might not experience the online education, but teachers present here might know what online education and its impact is. So we are also experiencing online education right here in our college itself. We are having online webinars too right now. But somewhere in our mind, we all have some disadvantages and advantages regarding this topic. For example, if I talk about teachers present here, they might be having a bad experience or an experience from the side of the students that they don't listen to them properly and disrespecting them in a particular way during the time of the online education, and they don't mind to go for the online education again. But here only if I talk about the students present here, they might want to go for the online education for their attendance for sure, but for some also for the knowledge. So the question here is not whether it's a good thing or a bad. It's just the perspective of a particular person, and it also varies from a person to person. One of the most often terms used after the pandemic is the new normal. The new normal in the education is the increased use of the technology, and the new normal now is the transformed concept of education with online learning and the core of its transformation. All the colleges and the schools are shifted to the online education not only for the academic purpose but also for the extracurriculars too. But the online education has its own impacts, and it also has its negatives and the positives. So today I'm going to talk about its negatives and positives. Starting from the positives, first will be the efficiency. Online learning offers teachers an efficient way of delivering the lessons to the student in a particular way through the use of online learning tools such as PDFs, videos, broadcasts, etc. It extended the lesson plans from beyond the traditional textbooks to the developing the interest of the student in understanding the concept more clearly with the help of videos and the PDFs. Second point for the advantage is the accessibility of the time and the place. The accessibility of the time and the place allows the students to attend the classes from the location of their own choice. And they can also download the online videos and use them for the future preferences. And can also use the online material whenever they want, anytime they want. Third point for the advantage is the affordability. Affordability eliminates the cost points of the students and the teachers, such as transportation, meals, and most importantly the real estate for the people from the outside Delhi or from the outside any state. Fourth point, and it's the very important point from the perspective of the student, improved student attendance. The student attendance might be improved from the online education because students can attend the classes from anywhere they want, and there is lesser chance of missing the classes in the online mode. What if I talk about the negativity? Negativity or the negative points of the online education. And its first point will be the inability to focus on the screen. Inability to focus on the screen, it's a real struggle for the students to focus on the screen for a longer period. And there is also a great chance of getting distracted from the social media platforms and any other platforms. So it's very important for the teacher, and it's a real task for the teacher to make the session interactive and also provide breaks in between so that the student can understand the concept more clearly. So second point is the technology issue, and it's the most important and the disadvantage from the perspective because internet connectivity is the most important point. If we don't have internet connection or a good internet connection, consistent internet connection, we won't be able to deliver the lesson properly or learn the lesson properly. Third point is the teacher training. The teacher training the teachers mostly requires the training of the technology, latest update technology, and it's important for the universities and the schools to provide the latest updates and the technologies to the teachers so that they can have at least a basic understanding of providing the online classes and the continuity of the classes, for the continuity of the classes. Fourth point for the disadvantage is, and it's the most concern point from the perspective of the parents, screen time. During the time of the pandemic, screen time has increased of each and every student. The screen time is the most concern and the disadvantage of the online education. Some students might also develop a bad posture and some other physical problems due to staying hunched in the front of the screen for a longer period. As it's kind of a complicated topic, we cannot predict to or we cannot stick to any positive or the negatives of the online learning, and it's just a point of view of a particular person and it varies from person to person. We cannot go for any advantage or disadvantage, and we cannot go mostly go for the online or the offline. We have to be in online, offline, both. So it's a never-ending debate. And now I'm ending this topic right here. Thank you everyone for your time.
Thank you, Ayushi. I just wanted to confirm it once. Do we have Tanya Singh over here? Any idea, Tanya Singh, BBA 5th semester? Fine. Okay. So now I would like to invite our next speaker, Shreyas.
You hear anything? Nothing. So here I am, Shreyas Srivastava, a celebrity costume stylist. Here I will be telling you about a digital version of fashion world. So it's a technology to give every item its own unique digital identity to benefit both the consumers and the brand simultaneously. It is one of the most lucrative yet feasible way for the fashion power players Fashion power players. Fashion power players. Fashion power players. To step into the future of fashion. So you simply can scan this QR on a garment and it takes you to the World Wide Web. Stuffed with information about the sustainability, material used inside the garment, and other parts, including the styling suggestions. And this www could even take you to a resale partner. So once you are done wearing the article or the item, you can resell it. And in case you are the maker of that particular item, you can earn royalty every time the item is sold. A product with its own ecosystem comprising of efficient data and services exists. However, fashion industry is only limited to RFID tags, which is used for the tracking purpose in inventories. RFID stands for reference tags identities. Also, the stakeholders believing in the concept of giving their products a unique digital identity has been growing magnificently. And this change will be significant in accordance to the understanding of the blockchain technology that is the future, Web 3. Via blockchain, one could even activate their smartwatch warranty by simply clicking its photograph on a mobile phone. I personally feel it's still a long way to get this technology standard. However, it's gonna be a cakewalk for luxury companies to dedicate a unique identity to their products. For the small ticket players, they can simply add these tags on their market items every year. To make it even more valuable to the consumers, a common standard has to be established so that each QR isn't in an isolating system with a limited set of capabilities. So simply clothing would be coming with a QR besides its wash instruction sign, and the add-ons like hand carry bags will be coming with a NFC tag stitched on it. The deal and communication among the consumer and seller ends once the purchase is made, but no more. These digital QRs extends that trade involving digital product and physical lives. Further, this technology could connect consumers with Web3 ventures like Metaverse, enabling more smooth reselling and reordering. Adding to this, the benefit that can be reaped by the consumers, the selling brand, and influencers. This will be a revolution towards the service-based relationship among brands and consumers that the fashion industry has never seen before. Russia.
Everyone is requested to please be seated and maintain silence. Thank you. Your silence would be appreciated.
Good afternoon everyone, my name is Ramesh and I want to share with you an idea of lifestyle for environment. But first of all I want to share you with some data. Atmospheric CO2, the amount of atmospheric CO2 has never been more than 300 parts per million in the last 8 lakh years. But now it is around over 420 parts per million. Sea level rise is also increasing. It is estimated that it will increase from 2% to 6% by 2100. which is a problem for island countries and the countries which have coastal areas. So why this is happening? Because of our wasteful consumerism. Wasteful consumerism means we are extracting.
Better maintain silence.
Wasteful consumerism means we are extracting raw materials, consuming them and disposing them off without any care. We need to convert this into circular economy. In circular economy, we reuse again and again. I want to share with you an example of microplastics. Microplastics is basically the residue or debris of the plastics that are lying over the surface of the ocean. They have a huge impact on our life. The first, it affects the behavior of the organism. For example, earthworms, they create burrows or they dug into the ground. Because of the presence of microplastics, their pattern of burrowing is changing, which impacts the soil health, etc. Second, groundwater contamination. The microplastics release chemicals which can reach our groundwater, which affects the quality and ultimately our health. It also acts as a bacteria vector in which new or non-native bacteria can evade or can non-native bacteria enter into the ecosystem of other areas, which affects, and if you acquire disease that you may have no immunity before. So how can we eradicate or how can we mitigate the impact of all this? That is where my main idea comes, which is of lifestyle for environment. Lifestyle for environment is basically the idea which was introduced, which was an initiative of our Prime Minister at the United Nations Climate Change Conference of Parties in Glasgow last year. In this, it is basically a public movement in which it aims to mobilize people to become pro-planet people. Pro-planet people means you are using the resources mindfully, not wastefully. So how can we achieve this? One of the technique is nudging. Nudging is basically your freedom of choice is preserved, but nudging means your freedom of choice is preserved, but you are pursued in such a way that your choice is made in that direction. For example, in US, United States of America government sent letters to the households who consume a lot of energy or a lot of electricity, and it was mentioned in that letter that your neighbors are using less electricity. So this reduces their consumption of electricity. The second point is, in Africa, there is a region in Nigeria, which is the second largest slum of Africa. And the place is filled with waterborne diseases. Waterborne diseases prevalent over there. So the government provided them discount coupons in which they were given the coupons for water purification. So this chlorine solution was provided to them, but they did not take it because they had to first take the water from the water source and they had to take another trip to get their water purified. So what government did? They set up water purifiers, chlorine solution containers near the water source. This increased their uptake from 10% to 60%.
The global market and the financial industry, like various sector industry, public, private, and
Be confident, be seated down, have water, and very white.
Hello.
My name is Ishan Khurana. I'm going to present a speech about way of success. This is my topic. So, I'm going to be talking about how to achieve supermassive success. What do I mean by supermassive success? It is a very, very difficult thing to achieve. Like, so difficult that people think it is impossible. People laugh at you when you tell them your goals. Like, second. Things that are so difficult that it is even difficult to comprehend that one can achieve that. For example, like building $1 billion business out of scratch in a poor country, clearing UPSC with the first rank, joining paramilitary forces, getting a country out of independence, giving country independence, fighting for it, inventing something that revolutionizes the whole world. Few people, in my opinion, that have achieved supermassive success are Elon Musk, Subhash Chandra Bose, Bhagat Singh, Mahatma Gandhi, and Nikola Tesla, and Swami Vivekananda. These people have achieved great things. That's why they are in history. So, what it takes to achieve this kind of success? I've noted 5 points that came to my mind. First is obsession. You should be very obsessed about that. Like, you should be thinking about it all the time. The only thing you think about it is that goal. You eat, sleep, drink that thing. That should be kind of your obsession. When you think about it, your blood pressure gets high. You get adrenaline rush thinking about it. Just thinking about it. Before sleeping, the last thought is about that. That you're so motivated about it. That is the kind of obsession you need to achieve such difficult things. Like, you are out of 7 billion people, you are in the list of top 10 people who can achieve it. Like, you are super successful. And it's very difficult. Only 1.0001% people can achieve that. So, I'm gonna tell you how you can achieve it. First thing is obsession. Second thing is mindset of dedication. You need to be super dedicated about it. Super dedicated about it, I mean, leave everything in life. The only thing you want to focus on is that. Nothing else. Your focus should be only on that. That is kind of dedication you need. Excruciating hard work. This kind of hard work is going to be very difficult for you. It's gonna have a toll on your health. A lot of stress. You have to skip a lot of rest. Like, you work 16 hours a day. A normal person like works for 8 hours a day, you have to work 16 hours a day. And not for just 1 year, 2 years, for decades, or a decade, maybe, if you're lucky. So, like, I am going to quote Elon Musk. Like, in an interview, he was asked, how can you be a super successful entrepreneur? He said, work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in 80 hours, 80 to 100 hours, weeks every week. This improves the odds of success. If someone is working 40 hours a work week, and you are working 80 to 100 hours a work week, which translates to 16 hours a day, you're going to achieve things in 4 months that it takes them to achieve a year. And you know how successful Elon Musk is. He has sacrificed a lot in order to achieve this. Fourth thing I'm going to point out is competition. Competition is going to be very daunting. They are going to be as equally as tough as you are. So you have to be more tougher than them. You have to outwork them. Once Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, he was giving a speech and he said, you guys won't outwork me. And the level of confidence, he said, like, he works super hard. You have to beat the competition like a dog. Let's say a dog is trying to chase you. He's running at full speed. I want to stand there and like watching that. Imagine it's a competition. You have to run as fast as you can. Like, put your everything, put every ounce of your energy to run. While you're running, you're not gonna like stand there and like take some rest, take some breathing work. It's gonna catch you, it's gonna bite you. So you have to run very fast. And that's in entrepreneurship, in everything, in whatever domain. You want super success, you want to be the world class. You have to do that. You have to just keep running. Even if you fall, get up as quickly as possible and keep running. That's my question. And the last thing I'm going to say is sacrifice. This is going to be mentally very hard for you, emotionally very hard. So, sacrifice. Wait a second. You have to put your goal above everything. I mean, even above your family. This goal is world class. World class, I mean, the difficult things in the world. Difficult thing, you do mention the history for doing that. So, for that level of thing, you need a lot of sacrifices you need to make. You have to put your family above, you put your goal above everything. Above your family. You're gonna lose a lot of friends, relationships. Many things you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose your young time, partying time, all of that you're gonna lose that. For that thing. That is the kind of sacrifice you need to achieve that goal. That's the price you pay. And the last thing, I'm gonna advise you one thing. It is not for everybody. It is only for 0.001% of people who are willing to put that kind of sacrifice, who have the fire in the belly to achieve it.
You're almost up to your time.
Okay. So, do it when you have fire inside you.
Now I would like to invite Manvi.
Hello everyone. So the topic for today is India and its neighborhood. We all are very fond of our neighboring countries, sort of. We all study geography as well in our schools, right? So when I'm talking about neighbors, the very first country that comes into our mind is our favorite neighbor, that is Pakistan. The second favorite, China. Then Nepal, Bhutan, we have Bangladesh, we have Myanmar and Sri Lanka, of course. So when I'm talking about Pakistan, the very first thing that comes into our mind is partition. We have cultural ties, we have spiritual ties as well. Then China, of course, our major three trading partner is one. China is one among them. Then we have trading partners, the raw material, all these things. Then we have Nepal, Bhutan. The countries, these are famous for our tourism, of course. Then mountains we have, they are famous for their tourism sector. We have Bangladesh, of course. India held Bangladesh for its liberation war in 1973 from Pakistan, if you know the history as well. So then Myanmar. Myanmar is basically, when it comes into our mind, we have refugees, Rohingyas from the Rakhine state. Then Sri Lanka, of course, we have our spiritual ties with them. So I'm not going that much into history. We will talk about some of the previous sectors as well. So in some of the previous year, has been not very cool for India, basically. India faced many challenges like COVID-19 that came from our neighbor country, growing competition for influence in South Asia, and of course the aggressive border issue from China and LAC. So COVID-19 caused very damage, economic, social, political, everything, the lives as well. So India, however, ranked second after the US in the number of cases, but India do have the highest number of recovery rate after all the countries, and India also stood as the world leading pharmaceutical product for the country, for the world as well. India distributed free vaccines and drugs, PPE kits, all these things to the world at a free of cost, which really helped the world. So PM Modi also proposed a COVID-19 package to SAARC countries of about $10 million. India's military was going into that places, picking up the people and providing them the shelter, food, and bringing them back to the country. However, like everything, we have a China factor here as well. China also extended its support to South Asia with its own made, like always China have, Chinese-made vaccines like Sinovac, PPE kits, all these things China was no behind. So, if you know about the China Silk Route, we all have studied in our history books in 7th and 8th class. There's a new version of Silk Route now, the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, that we have today. So almost all SAARC countries are a member of this BRI initiative except India and Bhutan. India, we know the reason why India is not the member of this BRI initiative, and of course Bhutan as well, because Bhutan has a territorial issue with China. So what do China do actually? These are small nations like Nepal, Bhutan and Sri Lanka. We have seen the recent example of Sri Lanka as well. China basically gives loans to these small countries at a very high interest, not of course at a concession rate, and India then gives waiver to all these countries at a concession rate where India has given a loan. So, however, the things are not very much okay with all of the countries as well. However, it is like a big brother to all these countries. But India and Nepal saw tensions of the constitution as well of the road, like the Nipu Lake, leading to Nepal amending its constitution and marking Indian territory as its own. So, however, India is a country that haven't attacked anyone at the first sight. Obviously, India always retaliates, and India has its neighborhood first policy, the Saga policy. All these has been the forefront of India's foreign exchange policy and the neighborhood policy. So apart from the COVID-19 relief, Indian government has been very well in the communication sector as well, like in the regional connectivity, like completing railway lines to Bangladesh and Nepal, riverine projects, ferry services to Bangladesh and Myanmar as well, Maldives as well, also considering debt waiver request to Sri Lanka at a very concession rate as well. We have, however, there is a thing that puts India behind, like the infrastructure delivery. Especially when China was delivering projects with better efficiency, we have a live example of the Hambantota project, which was given to Sri Lanka because of their better infrastructure delivery. Then we have India also allowed some of the US partnership as well, like the Quad dialogue we have, the quadrilateral, in which we have US, India, Japan and Australia as a Indo-Pacific policy as well. So we are focusing on the security of
keeping you waited. I'm Sanjana, and my topic is dare to disagree. Basically, dare to disagree with the taboo that society puts on you. Today, I'm going to talk about the most vulnerable section of this society, which are our prostitutes, the sex workers. The thing is, everyone in this world has some sort of occupation. We do. Someone is a businessman, someone is an engineer, doctor, teacher. Be it any profession, we need to agree that we have to accept them as they are in this society. These people, there are vendors out there, they sell their snacks, they sell clothes. The only difference is that the sex workers are compelled to sell their bodies. It takes a lot of courage. It too takes a lot of courage to put your bodies on stake every day and night. Do you know about the concept of dignity of the laborers? I guess none. All it says about is we have to respect the professionalism, be it any profession. The thing is, it takes a lot. When it comes to the ground reality, it takes heart, it takes everything of an individual to put his or her body on stake. That is the last option that one can do, or one can go down to put their bodies on stake. Just for what? Just to have what we call papi pet. They do it for that papi pet. Also for their children who even don't have names of their fathers. They are moving around, they are wandering around without their father's name, fighting with the society that would be ever able to get our place in this society, a respectable place. Do you think we give respect to all professions? I don't think so. In there, at the end of the day, we are guilty somewhere that we don't respect some sect. It's not about just sex workers or prostitutes. It's also about when we talk about the rickshaw pullers and the one selling little things like trivial one. We don't respect. All we have to do it. If we cannot respect, try to not disrespect these people. Now I would also like to talk about the rights of the prostitutes. That is, when an individual, when she is doing whatever her occupation is, she's performing her duty, she's doing what she's like, she has to do it for her pay, for her stomach, for fulfilling the needs of the kid behind her. We do not, I'm sorry. The thing is, when she's out there in the society having her own time, please let her be. She will not be available. She's not available for you 24/7. She's not your property, isn't it? And I would only conclude with, please give space to their children. Please let them grow well. At least the shadow of all those dark things do not affect these children, and give them a proper place in the society. And for that too, our government has also initiated some of the programs and have allowed that the children of these prostitutes are allowed to take admissions. So when they come to you or when you see any of them, please try to be humble towards them. They really need a place in this society. Thank you so much.
I will now invite the last speaker for the day to meet me, Madhu.
Good afternoon everyone, I am Sumidhi Mathur and today I will be speaking on the topic domestic violence. So to begin with, there are 24 people who are suffering from this same thing. Now, domestic violence is a very common worldwide phenomenon. It is not religion specific, it is not region specific. It is a very common phenomenon and everybody is aware about it in some or the other sense, right? So, domestic violence is a physical assault that is done by a dominant partner on a submissive one. This is what generally people know, right? कि एक dominant partner है, he or she uses his power on a submissive partner, and it happens in a domestic setting like a marriage or a cohabitation. Domestic violence is a pattern of behavior that can be observed in an individual. Now, when an individual is in a relationship, he or she uses his or her power to dominate the other person and वो power का गलत use करता है. That is how domestic violence takes place. Now, there are several reasons for domestic violence. Why is it so important to discuss about domestic violence? Domestic violence, the more we talk about domestic violence, the more awareness we will be able to spread about it, the more people will become aware of what is actually happening with them, and we will be able to help those people. Now, domestic violence के बारे में पता होना क्यों ज़रूरी है? So that we actually know the pattern of behavior in an individual, so that we know what drives an individual to actually do something like that. Domestic violence is a very, very grave issue that needs to be addressed. When we are in a relationship, we expect our partner to treat us respectfully with love. Now imagine the fact that your intimate partner is treating you very inhumanely. Now, how would you feel? Obviously, बुरा लगेगा, obviously अच्छा नहीं लगेगा, किसी को अच्छा नहीं लगता. So, domestic violence is something that everybody should be aware about and everybody should know and everybody should raise a voice against it. But do we actually raise a voice against it? Do we actually do something to help the victims? We don't. We are aware of domestic violence through social media. हमें पता होता है. हमारे पास Instagram पे post आती हैं. We share it on our story. After that, what happens? कुछ होता है? Do we do something? We don't, right? We know domestic violence from, our immediate neighbors. They might be also suffering from domestic violence. Anybody can be suffering from domestic violence, right? If not the first-hand experience, you know what domestic violence is, and you know because हम पढ़े लिखे लोग हैं, we are educated, we know how to fight that. But so many people around the world do not know actually how to fight that. We are at war. This war is across the world, in our country, in different countries around the world. This war is very different from the war that we actually know. This is not a loud war between countries, it is a very silent war that is being fought in our own households. The battlefield of this war is within the comfort zones of our own homes. Now, let's talk about the victim of domestic violence. Victim होता है, victim बहुत कमजोर होता है. Right? We say that we've seen that the victims do not usually raise their voice against this. Why does this happen? Have you ever thought about it? Victims are too scared or they might be too much in danger to actually go and raise a voice against it. And some of them might not actually be aware of what is happening with them. So we need to help them be aware of this and we need to help them raise a voice against this. Now, domestic violence, there's a common consensus that domestic violence is caused by two major things. Surveys have also shown. First thing is substance abuse. Second thing is poverty. Now, substance abuse का एक बहुत common example लेते हैं that we've seen in India. Now, what is it? कि लड़का घर दारू पी के आया है और उसने अपनी बीवी को मारा. सबने सुना है ना? Second thing is poverty. Poverty कैसे? It is a very poor household, the income is very minimal and that income is used, मतलब they hand to mouth, they use their income for their daily things. Now, if the person, for example, we take the male counterpart, wants to use that income to buy liquor and he goes and asks the female for the money. वो refuse कर देती है, वो मना कर देती है, लड़ाई हो जाती है and then it escalates and it becomes domestic violence. These are the very few common examples that we've seen that take place in India, right? Now, when I talk about domestic violence, when I'm giving examples of domestic violence, what kind of an image that is coming in your mind? That image is that a woman is being hit by a man, right? बहुत common image है. But I agree that mostly women are victims of domestic violence. But men are also victims of domestic violence. This is due to the societal stigma that they don't speak up, that they don't come out, that they don't ask for help. Or it is pride की बात है यार, कैसे मार दिया उसने, है ना pride की बात. कोई आके आप थोड़ी बताओगे कि मेरे को लड़की मार दिया, है ना? So this is the societal stigma that we have set a standard, a bar for men to not come out and show कि I am also a victim of something. We should actually do something about domestic violence because the physical scars that come with domestic violence may heal with time, but the scars that it leaves on a person's mind cannot be healed. Thank you.
Thank you, Suniti. Now I would like to invite Lavanya once again. She's ready for it now. All the best.
So my topic is coronavirus and its impact on the global economy. So coronavirus is caused by the SARS, which is also known as novel coronavirus or the coronavirus. The first case was originated in China in the year 2020, which has disrupted various markets of finance, economy, marketing economy, etc. During coronavirus, there was a decrease in the demand of oil prices as China is the exporter and the importer of various manufacturing and production sector. So the quality of products, the quantity produced were less in numbers provided. Then there is a supply chain disruption as the demand the Korean country, the Japanese culture, and the other Asian countries were also the importer of various products like oil, like mobile phones, etc. to the people. So their supply also decreased. As the supply decreased, the price also decreased. The profit also decreased. So
thank you, Lavanya. So now basically I have a question for you all. You know, why should we attend TED Talks and what do we learn out of it? Like, it's open for the audience. Anyone wants to say and has anything to share? Anyone? Okay, fine. Over to you, Bhumika.
Okay, so don't worry, for TED Talk, you will discover something new. There are truly hundreds of TED Talks available over internet which have been done by some great people, or we can even call them experts. TED Talks cover an entire range of ideas. Some topics you might be interested in and some might just hover over your feed and you watch them and you definitely learn something new. Second is inspire conversation. Conversation is the root of innately. Be fascinated by how eloquently speakers are able to present their ideas. And I guess TEDx Kids would be the first offline audience, like first TED Talk you might all get to attend. So that's a great opportunity. Noticing how these experts express their thoughts is a great resource for refining your own public presence and figure. Third, they provide motivation. Many TED Talks come from presenters who have overcome incredible goals or inspire change in the world. It is likely you will experience within the first TED Talks, couple of TED Talks you tune into. Hearing their stories will motivate you to reevaluate your personal goals and set them, and even you might change your goals, and it will definitely help you to develop a path which will help you to achieve them. Over to Sohani.
Thank you, Bhumika. And those were genuinely some amazing points you've got to learn today. So, let me remind you all, the theme for the TEDx Gifts is Learning Beyond. You all must be wondering what's the date, time and venue for the event. So, the venue is the Sovereign School, Sector 24, Rohini, and the date for the same is 17 December 2022, that is Saturday. The tickets for attendees will be releasing very soon. You will be notified with all the updates over our social media platforms. And over to you, Bhumika.
For all the regular updates, I say that you all must follow our social media channels. The handles for the same are available there, and you can just have a look at them. Now, I would like to tell you about the teams we require for TEDx Gifts. So, first will be operational. This team will be responsible for managing day of event activities of the main stage and will be in charge of ticketing and registration needs. Second, speaker curation. So basically the aim of this team is to get speakers, to find basically multidisciplinary speakers focused on the power of ideas to change the personality and ultimately the world. Third, marketing. This will be responsible for promoting the event, telling the public about the event, Creating a strong online presence. Fourth, video and promotion. This team will focus on creating videos to be posted over various social media channels to increase our online presence and engage the audience. Fifth will be design. This team will be responsible for designing the posts and all the content that will be posted on the TEDx Tips Instagram channels and other channels. And sixth will be sponsorship. So, this team will be aiming at raising money from sponsors for event expenses and managing all the event's finances. It can be in form of cash or kind. 7. Hospitality. So, this team will help in escorting the guests upon their arrival and taking care of their food and beverages throughout the event and taking care of the basic audience needs. So, you all saw about the teams of TEDx Gives. We will be inviting registrations for the same, and the link for the form will be available on your ERP whenever we will be releasing it. You can fill it along with the choice of preference of your team, and then you might get a chance to be a part of TEDx Gives after an interview round. This was my time. Thank you everyone. You were a great audience and I hope you had a wonderful time.
Before we end, I would just like to remind you all once again that we are still recruiting people for the core team of TEDx Gives, and if any of you is still interested, you can reach out to the teachers and the student coordinators as well. And before that, I would just like to let you all know that the results would be out very soon. Thank you for being a patient audience and have a great day. Thank you.